So, recently, for the past year, I have really been into the predator catching genre here on YouTube. And what I feel the predator genre has done is highlight the psychology of these predators and try to expose their thought process, the way they justify their depravity, the way they deflect why exactly they choose to go after a minor. And I think the best person who has done this type of content is Anxiety War. And now looking back at things like TCAP to Catch a Predator and Hansen versus Predator, Chris Hansen being the most famous of the genre, basically, and uh, not in a way to expose Chris Hansen at all. Just as a quick note about Chris Hansen and the work he did. A lot of it back then, especially when he was on, Dateline, was journalistic work. It was more exploring the dangers of the internet and what depravity you can get from online chat rooms. And looking back at it now, it's almost kind of like very boomer-ish on, this is kind of like what helped the idea of, kids shouldn't go on the internet because there's predators everywhere. Which, I mean, there were in the sense of, the people Chris caught, but. And then now, with Hansen vs. Predator, which was a YouTube series, it was definitely more a combination of humiliating these guys, which is fair enough, but there wasn't really any good journalistic work I could say, but there were a lot of very interesting characters, and I want to look at them. And this is much more digestible way of looking at how some of these guys behave. So let's get started with this Jesse Velez character, um, looking up to meet a 13-year-old boy, a boy.
Come in for a sec. It's a little cold out.
So here's our boy, Jesse Velez, who
How you doing? Good.
is rocking the Lucky Brand Jurassic Park. He's got some Versace orange shirts, and I think those are some retro Air Jordans that he's got on. So it's a really cool getup that he's got. Great matching colors. The black with the black here.
I know. Well,
So starting off with the stage setting the stage, he says you look different, which like the decoys that they use are never shown. Or the decoys that they use for the pictures are not shown, and then the actors are obviously not the decoys, and they're also obviously not underage, to not risk the safety of an underage child. And so this guy right here, first of all, let's not even getting the side that he looks like he could be the father of the child. Uh like the predator or the decoy was like this blonde, like almost like a Dylan Roof haircut. You know, he looks nothing at all like the decoy. And I don't know what this guy's problem is that he fell for it, because in the chat, the decoy just kept sending the same picture over and over, and it wasn't even like a selfie or a good pose. It looked like a school photo, like pretty low quality. I'm surprised he fell for it, but thankfully he did. And so
how you doing?
let's get a
My
better
house
look
is
at
your
our
house.
decoy right
Wanna
now.
come in? Come in. So where'd you want to go?
So here's our boy right here. um, so just the idea that they were just like, what the like, let's just get this guy right here. Apparently, from what I've heard, the decoy that was supposed to play the guy who was supposed to play the decoy, he fell through, and I don't know who this guy is. It's obvious that they probably just got the first guy, and it had to be just a random crew member, because this guy's got no acting chops whatsoever compared to Nelly, another decoy that we'll see eventually going down this deep dive of these predators. Um, so he's gonna be playing the role, I guess, like of an immature kid, I guess you could say. Um, and it's not a we'll see some gems, especially if you've never seen this before.
Want water or something?
No, this is the first time I met somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of nervous.
Nervous? I know, I am too. You want a water? Anything?
Yeah, please. Where are your parents at?
They went away.
Oh, they went away.
Sorry?
Your parents who aren't here, they went away. I see. That completely answers my question. Like, yeah, like no improvisational skills or anything like that. Like he probably got fed a few lines and just buckled under pressure when something did not go to the script.
Yeah. Here you go.
So how old are you?
13.
13.
That's what they all say, you know? That's what they all say. So,
Who's they? What do you mean that's what they all say? Like you don't like that's
where
what
are we
they
going?
because yeah, he had no idea what that's what they all say is.
I don't know, wherever you want to go to eat.
I love this conversation
It's
right
up
here,
to
by the
you.
way. Listen to this.
You hungry?
Yeah.
Where do you want to go?
Doesn't matter to me.
I'm not really hungry, I just ate.
No.
No.
So you want to stay here?
No, not really.
This sounds like a conversation you would see in the video game Oblivion. Like the character, just like this mechanical talking dialogue to each other. That I mean, it fits, but at the same time, it's just so unhuman. Like, listen to
Where do you
this.
want to go?
Doesn't matter to me.
I'm not really hungry, I just ate.
No.
No.
So you want to stay here?
No, not really.
You want to stay here? What do you want to do after? What do you
Hang
want
out.
to do? Hang out?
You know.
Netflix? Chill?
This is his
Yeah,
weak
I
attempt
was-
at making him say something to incriminate himself. Like, oh yeah, he said he wants to Netflix and chill, Your Honor, and under the teenage dialogue, that means casual sex. Like, he doesn't even follow. He's just like, I guess.
Netflix when I was texting you.
Yeah, what show?
I watched like TV shows like House of Cards, stuff like that.
I haven't seen that. Is it pretty good?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, we can Netflix and chill.
This is gonna be a weird question, but you have your ID on you.
I don't have an idea, mate.
So,
Sorry.
I like this question for multiple reasons. Like when I think about this question, do you have your ID? I think about like the normal circumstance which someone would say it. So let's say you're at a park and you see a girl and you start talking to her for whatever reason and you notice that she's being flirtatious and any flirtatious attempts you make she reciprocates. But then you kind of look at her frame, you look at her face, and she just looks a little bit too young, and you're not sure if she is 18, And so, because you don't want to be stupid and hook up with someone that's actually not of legal age, regardless of the fact you don't know, you could still get in trouble. So you would go, can I see your ID? Like, maybe you'll find like a fake reason why, because normally you just wouldn't ask people for their ID anyway and then you see if they're 18. And so I love the fact that for a predator, like you're flirting with a guy like, who I think this guy is a bit too old for me. He seems like he's 17. So let me see your ID. And of course the fact too that like why would the fuck would you think a 13-year-old would have an ID? I mean, I know people are I got my ID when I was 18. So I don't understand why he thinks that that was a good idea. Like, ask for the school ID. Let me see. Hey, so what school do you go to? Like, can I see the school ID? Like, and of course, he would have to have it. Maybe not have to, but, like, that's a good way to see then if, oh, hey, this guy clearly does go to high school. He clearly,
I'm only 13. My mom keeps
Okay, so this next line is fucking gold. So let's listen and
having a purse.
Who lives here?
Who lives here? Well, I live here. Me, my mommy, and my daddy.
me, my mommy, and my daddy. Me, my mommy, my daddy. What a, again, trying to be just so I can imagine maybe a teenager talking like that, but not this teenager, okay? Not this teenager who probably has a 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah, they work hard.
It looks like good.
Yeah. This, you want to come look at this? This right here. This is my dad made this.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. Pretty cool. Want to come look at it?
So hold on, I missed something real quick. My apologies. But so first of all,
Me, my mommy, and my
I'm pretty
daddy.
convinced that he knew that this was a setup, just because first of all, his body language, he's so nervous, he's far away from the predator. He's not most of the predators, especially when they're comfortable, even if they're socially awkward, but if they're comfortable that this is not a sting, they're definitely usually very more they have a lot more sexual intentions, prowess. They sneak as much attempts to grab the predator, the decoy, as much as possible. And he's just he like, or they're at least like really try to break. He just seems like he's hanging out with a friend he doesn't really know that much, rather than like a guy who he's soon hoping to hook up with.
Yeah, they work
And
hard.
and then this happens.
Yeah.
There he goes looking at the hidden camera. Even if he doesn't think that it's a hidden camera, he's at least looking at it. But I'm certain that he knew it was a hidden camera, because look at, as he looks, he flinches, he pretends he didn't see it, and his eyes, they start looking a little nervous. I'm pretty certain he definitely knew something was up at that point.
Look at
And then
this.
this guy. So the decoy wants the predator to sit right here, and it's a technique by the producers because they like Chris Hansen popping out from this doorway right here, confronting the predator. You've got a shot of both the predator panicking and Chris Hansen with guns ablazing, and like for whatever reason, the predator sat all the way over there. So this doesn't work out that well. So the decoy's like, okay, like I know that for Chris to come out, I should try to get this guy out, and so he comes up with, "Hey, look, check out this table. My dad made it." Which is fucking ridiculous. Like, why would he care? Why would anyone show interest in that?
This right here. This is my dad made this.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. Pretty cool. Want to come look at it?
I'll take it too much. It's nice in there.
And so then Chris, he doesn't even wait for him to come over. He's just like, okay, fuck this. This is a train wreck.
Hey Jose, how are you?
So here's the confrontation. And the decoy just fucks off.
What's happening?
Nothing.
Yeah. What was your plan today?
Nothing, actually. Just to hang out.
Just to hang out
Yeah.
with a 13-year-old boy who you sent a picture of your private parts.
No, I didn't. I did?
Which he did.
Yes.
Multiple times, in fact.
Ugh.
Ugh.
I didn't mean to do that.
Who was right?
Yeah.
Who's right?
I was
You've been
just
chatting with him on and off for weeks.
Yeah, I used to travel like random people on and off. I'd hang out with them. No, nothing's really sexual, to be honest.
Nothing
Except for
sexual.
the dick
No.
pics.
What's this then?
Let me see. Oh my god, I did not know I even sent that. Ugh. Yeah, I did not know that.
Who was right?
Yeah, usually when I send pictures, like I have a bunch of.
So like he sent multiple, first of all. So okay, so obviously in these encounters what you get is obviously layers of lies and attempts of painting a narrative. And most of the time we'll get to the narrative part later because it's really important in what this guy tries to do. But that's a ridiculous lie and there's no real way you can get out of it, which is of course why these guys fuck themselves over. Even if they never do anything sexual, which one of these predators did, and he managed to get away with it. All of them, once they start sexting, they're already fucked. Like they always pretend that um the act of coming in to the house, they can maybe get away with it, but the sexting and the request for CP, that already fucks them over. Them coming over is just for them to get a face on the perpetrator, and it's just a ridiculous lie. Especially for multiple reasons. First of all, again, the most damning is the fact he sent multiple. How do you accidentally send multiple? And how do you not notice, like, oh, the picture I sent is a picture of my dick?
Pictures of me.
Right.
So I must have hit that, but I didn't really know why.
So this was just one big mistake.
Yeah, I pretty much, yeah.
So you had a picture of yourself out and about town,
Because usually I
driving a car.
Yeah, like usually
and
I
then the
meet-
penis pic. Oh, by mistake I hit the penis pic.
Yeah, because I didn't even know because I would even say like something afterwards, but I didn't even know I really sent that, to be honest. Usually I meet people, I hang out with them, nothing really sexual. So I don't even put like sexual things on my, like I don't do none of that stuff.
In his profile, he did put he's looking for right now, which, like that means something, obviously. He said right now and friends. but if it was only friends, maybe believable. But I mean, yeah, he didn't put a description. That doesn't really mean much anyway, especially for what you're saying. And yeah, so this was kind of a ridiculous thing.
Like, I don't say, oh, yeah, let's meet up and have sex. I don't really do that. I like to meet different people, hang out with them.
What is Grindr for?
Honestly, I know it's for hookups. I really do know that, but I'm not all for that. I don't just meet people randomly and just start having sex with random people. That's not what I do. I know it sounds weird coming from myself, but it's not like that.
But isn't that what Grindr is for?
No, to me, it's not.
So, just summarizing what Chris's points are going to be. Chris does a really poor job in this encounter. He only brings up two real points, and it's, hey, you sent a dick pic, and hey, you're on Grindr. And Grindr's for hookups, so because of that, you were clearly looking for a hookup. And obviously, um, the second point in isolation is actually a very poor point. The first point, of course, is damning, but the second point, which he harps on, it's, and like I said, it's in a vacuum. It's not. It's a really poor argument. What he should be pointing out is, hey, you talked about the fact that you wanted to suck his dick. You wanted to top him. You um wanted to eat his ass. You wanted him to send you CP multiple times in all accounts, and that's the damning part, not the fact that, hey, you were on Grindr. So I don't know why he does not at all once mention that. The only thing I could think of why he didn't do that is, I guess he didn't want him to panic and run away. But like, I mean, that's the job. Like, you're supposed to, like, confront these guys on these issues.
It depends on people use it for their aspects. Like, I don't
And
use it
so
for any sexual
one thing that
like
is
orientations or activities
happens
like that.
that rarely happens because of Chris's arguments is the Predator is right. He says something that's right, and it's that, no, Grindr is not just for hookups. Like, I use it for making friends and talking, and which is, yeah, like, you could use that. You don't have to just hook up on Grindr. So I don't understand. So yeah, he turns out to be right.
I just meet people, movies,
Of
we'll
course,
go to the
he's
restaurant, hang
lying,
out.
but
I just like to have company with me. I'm like kind of a, how you say, I never really had friends when I was younger.
Right.
So I like to hang out with people, you can get to know them a little bit. That's about it. I meet people from either 13, 17, 18, 30, even to their 40s, just to meet people and talk to them.
And how old are you?
I'm actually 27.
27.
Yes.
And what do you do for a living?
Me, I'm actually a manager for a restaurant.
Which restaurant?
Jersey Mike's.
Jersey Mike's.
Yes.
And how's that going?
It's going good. I actually just started there about a couple weeks ago.
Right.
Yes.
But you see how this looks for you to come over and visit
I know,
that 13-year-old boy after
Yeah,
you
I-
sent him a picture of your
Yeah, I know, like,
penis.
I didn't realize I sent that, and even when I came here,
How could you not realize it?
right.
No, I understand where you're coming from, but even when I came here, even when I parked there, I was just like, oh, this is, even when I sat there, I was like, yeah, this is the first time I did, like, met someone at someone's house. I felt kind of nervous when coming to a house, because you guys say, well, it's me at a public place, so it's more safer for me. That way, just in case I don't know the other person. But that's
So this is narrative he starts painting. He starts painting the narrative that I'm a guy who likes socializing, and he'll bring up examples which are kind of irrelevant because they're not provable at all. Like, let's say the guy confronting him was a friend, and let's take away the minor. Let's just say, hey, I saw that you were on the app and you were talking to someone. You were trying to hook up with them, and he could go like, oh no, I wasn't, like, like, me, I didn't have a lot of friends when I was growing up. You know how I like hanging out on my porch and hanging out at parks. Like, you know me, so you know that you can believe me when I say I was just trying to make friends. Of course, with this scenario, like, the lie just doesn't make sense. Like, how are we supposed to take your word for that? Like, especially for, I mean, of course, because Chris doesn't bring up a lot of the points, we don't really get to incriminate him further. But
why even when I came, I actually turned and parked at that park for a while. I just said, I was like, I should not be going to this person's house. So
But you did it.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Why did you do it then?
It's the first time for me. I never went to someone's house before.
You know, I hear that all the time.
Yeah,
It's my first time.
I'm sure. I'm
And
sure you
I
have.
doubt that all the people who tell me it's their first time are telling the truth.
This is Honest to death.
So you're the first honest
This is
guy I've ever
this
found.
this is the first
Coming to
time.
visit a
Well, no,
13-year-old boy.
this is the first time I met a young person that age. It's the first time ever in history.
But what
ever?
could you
History.
possibly have in common at 27 with a 13-year-old stranger?
That's something I'll find out when we sit down and chat. To be honest, I mean, there's nothing sexual was going to
Something
happen
I
anyway from the
find out.
get go.
After you sent him a penis
And I
picture.
didn't realize I sent that. You can look at all my conversations. I did not realize I sent that kind of picture. I did not
So
realize
today
that.
you just
So say
one big misunderstanding.
like for example, like say like I was gonna watch a movie with just like an ordinary conversation like Como like
So this guy, he's definitely. I mean, Chris could easily frazzle him even more, but obviously he's being frazzled right now with the questions, and he's trying to speak at 100 miles per hour. Like he's trying to figure out what narrative he's playing, and to make sure that he's consistent in everything he says. He really wants to talk his way out of it, and that's why he's much more talkative than the rest. Some of the guys are just they're either both just submissive people in general, shy people in general, or they also know that they've been incriminated so much that they've lost hope. This guy, he clearly thinks that he can talk his way out of this.
friendly type thing. It wasn't gonna be anything sexual. Even when we were chatting, I never said, "Oh, hey, do you want to have sex?" Because
Yes, you
that's
did.
not the kind of person I am. I don't want to throw myself out there like that. That's not what I am.
But if you're his parents, are you going to be comfortable?
I have a 16-year-old friend. I do. Yes, I do.
So this pisses me off. Like I don't know if this is just if he just said that because he knows that if he answers negatively, then he will then have further um incrimination against him. Like it's very clear that that's such a stupid thing to think that if you had a child, you had your own flesh and blood, that you'd be comfortable enough letting a guy who's like let's say 20, I think he said he's 26, I believe, and you have a 13-year-old kid, like someone twice your age, and you're just fine with that. Like that's ridiculous, like that's an easy recipe to allow your child to give, like to get molested. Like I'm not saying that you can't leave your child alone with anyone because that would result in them getting molested. But that's the obvious precaution. You don't just, especially a stranger. Like that's fucked. Like I really hope he doesn't actually think that.
That's a pretty big age gap
It
Right.
is. It is.
at this stage.
But you know what? But there's nothing wrong with that because to be honest, I have
There's
friends that are
something wrong with
16
that.
to 30. We all hang out. There's no drugs involved. Obviously.
Yeah, 16 to 30. So the example he uses in Connecticut, the age of consent is 16. So yeah, he hangs out with people which I still think is too young. But to think that, yeah, like he uses the example 16 to 30 and 30, like it's like he's 26, so that's just 4 years older than him. So if he had said at least something like 16 to 40, maybe you could, oh, okay, so he's used to hanging out with people far different from his age. But yeah, like that's ridiculous. And that's not even a good example because obviously, yeah, she chose an age that would be legally correct.
Don't do any drugs, but we all just conversate. I mean, there's so many similarities from all different people. It doesn't matter what age to me. So some people look at it as more like a pedophile thing or something like that, but that's not what I am. I don't go around looking for 10-year-olds, 13-year-olds. No, that's not who I am.
Well, you did.
That's not exactly.
But
who
you
I
see
am.
how this
Right,
works.
right.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. That's why I didn't want to walk through that door.
A 27-year-old sends a
27-year-old.
penis
Yeah.
picture to
I know.
a 13-year-old.
Yeah,
And then comes over to just hang out.
yeah. I know how it works. And I wasn't even want something told me don't walk through that door. I swear something told me do not.
Well,
walk
why'd
through
you
that
do
door.
it then?
I don't know. I wasn't gonna walk through that door. I really wasn't. But I don't know. Even when I saw him, I looked at him. I was like, this doesn't.
I saw him and I looked at him and I was like, this dude's older than me. That's what he thought.
Fit. I mean, I hang out with people outside of their home because I wouldn't want myself to be in someone's home that I really don't know. I never meet someone at their home. That's why I felt weird. Even
So this is just one big misunderstanding.
This is the
and
biggest.
the first time you've
this is
ever
the
had
biggest
such
I ever
a
walked into someone's
misunderstanding.
house. To be honest, because at my house, I don't people come to
And
my
again,
house.
he's
Well,
gonna be trying
I
to
can't.
use his personal life as proof. Like we're just supposed to take his word about his personal life when there's all this evidence against the contrary. But He's trying. He's trying.
I have a big patio outside, and I have my neighbors that come outside with me, so I would feel safe because I'm not by myself with that person. So at least people see me with this person. But me coming here, like I parked at that park right there.
Right.
I sat there for like 5 minutes, and I parked at the park because I was gonna make a U-turn just go
Irrelevant?
because I don't like people's houses. Because there was one time where one of our friends was to his
This
friend's
story
house,
is
and
just
it didn't
whatever. It has nothing to
really
do
go
with.
as they were gonna say.
So
You know,
at this point, let's just interrupt because its story isn't that important anyway. So now the narrative he's about to finish painting is that like he does not know he likes to hang out. He likes to conversate his words with people of all ages, and that not for whatever I mean the going into the house thing is kind of just like irrelevant. Like he met up is the point, not that he went into the house, but like he and him going into the house is a lapse of judgment because normally he wouldn't do it anyway, and that yeah, like that's the mistake. And for whatever reason, Chris allows him to paint that narrative, and so this is the one of the only times the Predator is actually controlling the conversation between the Predator and Chris Hansen, which is very strange. And although he doesn't convince anyone, he's able to distance as much as possible the conversation of the fact that like it's sexual. He's a predator, and that the kid's a minor.
when he walked in, there was actually an ambush. It was two older guys and a woman. They beat him up. It was like people that I guess people that they're looking for.
It was a setup.
Yeah, well, not like this. Like I guess they want to just beat somebody up. So that's why I don't come to people's house. I'd rather meet at a sandwich shop, at a Starbucks, just so we can sit down, conversate. It's
He says conversate
nothing really
again.
sexual out of the ordinary.
Do you live by yourself?
No, I live with my three dogs.
Three dogs?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah,
Here in Fairfield?
yeah. Actually, right up the road by Taco Loco.
By Taco?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we've been running an investigation
Okay.
called Hansen versus Predator.
Okay.
And I'm Chris Hansen.
Okay.
And you've walked into it.
Okay.
So if there's anything else you want people to know,
So this is basically so whenever Chris says that, that's basically the conversation is over. It can last a little bit more, but the reason why that's almost always the signal for the conversation is over is because once the predator sees the cameras, they have to know that they're being recorded anyway. But the cameras are just such a sight that there's like a reflex of there's a flight reflex that these guys have where they feel like they need to start running away. And sometimes like their body language when they still stick around, but they will initially kind of have the body language as they're about to get up, they're about to turn, but they realize, wait, I still want to talk my way out of this. So he doesn't, but he at least tries to cover himself
I'm not.
in a weak attempt.
I'm not. I'm not. I'll just see little kids. I'm not. That's not who I am. That's not who I am. Honestly. That's
And
not
now
who I
he
am.
realizes that he has to address the fact that like the elephant in the room is not just the fact that he came to meet someone and he shouldn't. It's that this is a child, and so now he even has to say, "I'm not." Let's repeat that again.
I'm not. I'll just see little kids. I'm not. That's not who I am. That's not who I am. Honestly.
Little kids, yeah.
That's not who I am. That's not me. Can you take the cameras off me, please?
I can't at this point.
Can I leave?
You can leave right out there.
But he doesn't want to leave because he still feels like he can talk his way out of it. He doesn't feel comfortable that
I'll talk to you in
talked
private
his
if
way
you
out.
like.
I can't turn the cameras off.
Okay. I mean, I'll answer any questions for you, to be honest, because I'm not.
Well, you have.
This is not what it seems to be. This is not what it was going to be. So I want everyone to know that's actually seeing right now. It's not what it was. I'll have to hang out with somebody. Nothing sexual to that nature. It may seem to other people it was, but to me it's not. Because if it was to that standard, I would have actually texted the guy, hey, let's meet and let's do this, let's do that. But it wasn't. I'm very cordial with what I say. I'm very blunt. So nothing was sexual nothing sexual to that nature. But to be honest, I can't learn my lesson right now. I'm not going to my house.
And what?
I'm not walking to no one's house ever again. This is the first and last time we're doing that.
What's the lesson?
So okay,
here?
I'll let this play out.
The
One
lesson here is don't walk into no one's house that you don't know who actually even lives there. That's to be honest.
more. Which is of course stupid, but I think he understands. Obviously, there's some predators who kind of are actually dumb, slow enough that they don't even really know how to answer Chris's question. Of it's almost like the equivalent of like when a Kickstarter asks you like, "What are the risks and challenges?" and you're just like, "Oh, I have no idea." Like, so him asking like, "What's the lesson?" But he asked either the question, "What's the lesson here?" or "What should be done with you?" And that's kind of like the point where it's like, oh, I have no fucking idea what to say. And he again, he's painting this narrative of, yeah, like what I did was wrong. I shouldn't have gone to someone's house, um, especially if I'm here to socialize, because going into someone's house makes it look like uh, there's sexual intent involved. And the sexual intent was shown through the conversation, was shown through dick pictures, and so tying the bow on Chris's weird incompetence in this confrontation, because he doesn't bring any of that up except for the pictures, the dick pics, and hey, you're on Grinder. Grinder is a hookup app. Um, the point two actually got um taken down, so all he needs really in his mind is just to cover up the dick pic argument, which he has tried to say, oh, it was just an accident, which is a big misunderstanding. So overall, then this is what I mean when I say this guy actually managed to kind of control the conversation somehow, even though he is not believed by anyone. That's a weird thing. That's something that doesn't usually happen.
Don't do the same thing to other people that you wouldn't want done to you. You know, would you
But
want
you did
someone?
it though.
Yeah, because I walked to my house, but I never allowed people to come to my house. That's the thing. I never allowed. You know, it's okay because I'm not even ashamed
And now
to do this.
now he's painting himself looking more and more confident. Like, oh, like I don't even care. I'm not gonna hide my face because I did nothing wrong. That's what he said.
Don't let people walk into your house. Why would you go to theirs? You know, because you don't know what to expect to that nature. That's why, you know, when I came here, I was bored today. I didn't know what to do, so I figured hang out with some people.
How about watching football?
I'm not a sports person, believe it or not. Don't like
How
sports.
about watching Netflix?
I was. It was just today was just a day that just, you know what, let's just go hang out tonight real quick. Let's hang out, you know, nothing sexual though. I'm not looking for that. I'm not.
But again, isn't
This is his last chance, and Chris doesn't take it. He doesn't. I don't even know. Like, did he not read the chat? Was he just like smoking a cigar in the back, like fucking on his phone, just sticking around? And they're like, Chris, the guy's almost here. Like, can you read the chat? It's like, what the hell, whatever. Oh, I sent a dick pic. Where is this on Grinder? Okay, and then like, Chris, he's here. I was like, ah, fuck it, all right. And cause there's no other allusions to the chat. Like what we'll see in other episodes is he'll drop hints about he knows how far they drove, where they came from, where they work, and these are techniques used to unravel the predator. And like, oh, how much does this guy know? Like, did he read the whole chat? Like, does he know more about me? What can I say that is a lie that won't incriminate me, but also something that I can't be called out on because he knows, or he can call me out on my bullshit. Not here though. Not here for some reason.
that what Grinder was
No.
set up for?
It
And
depends
here it
what
goes
people
again with the
utilize Grindr
Grindr
for.
argument.
You know, some people use it for dating, for hang off, for chill.
Right.
Other people use it for
I'll let him
that.
speak,
Nah.
But again,
he's right.
Isn't that
The predator
what
is right when
Grindr
he
was set
says.
up for?
It depends what people utilize Grindr for. You know, some people use it for dating, for hang off, for chill. Other people use it for sexual preference. You know, that's not what I'm looking for. Even on my profile, I just said, "Hey, let's chat."
That's
I'm
like
not-
saying. I mean, I know the memes. I know like the ideas, like Tinder and Grindr, they're hookups, right? Like if someone was confronting someone like, hey, I see you're here from Tinder. Like, it looks like you're because you're here for Tinder. That means you're here to have sex with this person. Um, Taking the accusation aside again of like a predator, even adultery or anything. Let's just say like, this Tinder app proves that you're a hookup person. It's like, no, like, yeah, that would be a ridiculous argument. So for Grindr, like, I don't know why. I don't know. Is Chris just a boomer and he just, oh, like on news everyone's talking about how these are hookup apps, and that's it. That's it.
not looking for, you know, anything of that nature. You know, it just says, "Let's chat." That's it.
Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough, Jose. I appreciate
So
that.
fair enough.
Fair enough. Like, when do you say fair enough to a predator? Like, what a
So
weird
everyone out there, you know, that's not
confrontation.
who I am. That's not who I am.
Okay.
So
I appreciate that.
You're welcome,
And this
Chris.
is the last thing I'm
Thank
going
you
to
for
say.
this actual experience, actually, because it's pretty interesting, actually. I'm never ever doing this ever again.
So I love his like the acting. I mean, this is clear acting still, but like I loved this guy. He first of all, I am pretty certain he thinks he's gonna get away with this. He thinks that, oh, okay, I'll just take a hit to my credibility. Like this will probably get posted somewhere, and I'll have to deal with the humiliation. But maybe I talked myself out. Maybe I'll be able to convince a few people anyway. But since I'm not going to jail, that's all right. But what I like even more about his attitude, he's treating this like it's like a reality show, like not a reality show, but you know that there was a show I think that's still going on that was called like What Would You Do? And it was basically a high production version of those shitty social experiment gone wrong on YouTube like years and years ago. And like they would plant these situations, these actors that would do like the one I remember the most was a again also strangely enough Predator related of a girl who skipped school and met this guy, this guitar player at a local cafe, and like they're all speaking obviously loud. It's like, oh yeah, I managed to skip school. Like, oh cool, like I'm glad we got to finally meet. So you're 26, yeah, I'm 26, and you're 15, right? And so people can hear this, right? And the cameras will start looking at people's like reactions, and it's such a formulaic dumb show. Like it's always the same thing. Like so the guy walks away, and then you always get these same reactions of someone who doesn't act, someone who acts but doesn't really do anything, and someone who acts and tries and stops it. Like, and then the cameras will come out, the host will come out, like, oh my god, this was oh, you had me, and then they talk, they reflect, like, oh, so you did nothing. Well, I was afraid. Oh, I saw you wanted to do something, but you didn't. Oh, I was afraid. Oh, you did something. Yeah, I couldn't let this happen. I have a daughter myself. Like, just really the same thing. And so he's treating it like, wow, yeah, like this was such a interesting learning experience. Yeah, this has me thinking a lot about what just happened. So like
Not
playing
there,
it back.
that's not who I am. That's not who I am.
Okay.
So,
I appreciate that.
You're welcome, Chris.
Thank
you for this actual experience, actually, because it's pretty interesting, actually. I'm never ever doing this ever again. To watch someone's house. So,
I appreciate
He
nothing
thinks
bad
he got
out of
away.
this.
Okay.
I appreciate
All
it.
right. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. I
Thanks for your
appreciate
time.
it. Thank you. Oh, where's the exit?
Right there, straight ahead, over there.
And boom.
Or the police department will explain everything to you right now. You can't do that. Give me your phone.
Hey, letter that.
As long as you have okay. You have nothing in your pockets, do you?
No, it's my keys.
Alright, very well.
Why am I under arrest?
I'm under arrest.
We'll explain everything in a minute.
There's nothing to explain. he's so fat that he can't even get in the car. Like, look at this. He's showing pain. Look at that. He's showing pain just getting in the car.
Right up into this trail, and I'll explain everything to you. Okay.
Face forwards, eyes open.
He looks funny.
Good.
Good.
Face the wall. There you go.
He's getting
Jesse,
printed.
what's your last name?
Velez.
Here's the
You got through
interrogation.
everything?
They're not ever full interrogations. Some are longer than the others, but this one's pretty brief. Let's just finish it off by watching it.
Yeah.
He's crying, piece of shit.
This is
There you go,
upsetting,
you
and
piece of
trust me,
shit.
I'm not mean.
Toilet paper.
I'm not sitting here in judgment of you. I'm just trying to understand what happened today.
Good cop
And that's all.
routine.
That's all we're trying to do.
too.
Okay.
Well, I'm not
you
really
ready?
gonna harp much, or not harp, but I'm not gonna really talk a lot about because it's so short. Let's just watch out the interrogation.
Everything thoroughly?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't you tell me why you think you're here? Why you think this whole thing happened?
Because I was stupid enough to go on the app and chat with random people, and I met one of them, which unfortunately was underage. Nothing sexual is gonna happen with any of them that I meet today. Just
Right.
hangouts or whatever. And unfortunately, I went to their house, which I shouldn't have.
Okay.
And I've never done that before. Usually, I meet them at Starbucks just so I feel safe at the same time. But this time, I did it.
Okay.
So this guy served 2 years in prison. Yeah. So going off the top of the head, then he would later post on Facebook an apology, which was more just a defense of himself. Uh, I don't know what happened, but apparently he violated his probation, and so he's set to appear in court again, but nothing's happened as of yet. But yeah, that's it for Hansen vs. Predator part episode 1. I will be looking at the rest of the Hansen vs. Predator confrontations and really get paint pictures of how these guys behave and why they do what they do. So thank you guys very much for joining me, and have a great rest of your day.